There's a fire that burns deep inside my soul, a whispered word that makes my spirit whole. The truth is flowing, I can't hold it anymore. I'm a prophet of the Lord, yeah, a vessel for His love. I'm a prophet of the Lord.
Need to understand false prophets and false prophecy. So we're going to go into that topic and that subject during this portion of the read along. So you all stick with me, stay and listen in. False prophets and prophecy. Deuteronomy chapter 18, verse 20 through 22. But any prophet who falsely claims to speak in my name, or who speaks in the name of another God, must die. Verse 21. But you may wonder, how will we know whether or not a prophecy is from the Lord? Verse 22. If the prophet speaks in the Lord's name, but his prediction does not happen or come true, you will know that the Lord did not give that message. That prophet has spoken without my authority and need not be feared. False prophecy is a prophetic word spoken that the Lord did not send nor inspire the prophet to speak. It is generally a very sensuous or good-feeling word given to one who was not really worthy of the word, and more so worthy of being chastened by the Father, mostly deserving God's judgment. A false prophecy chants peace and encouragement when obvious or revealed sin is at play and at work. It flourishes in the atmosphere of spiritual error and demonic doctrines. False prophecy always emboldens the person in his or her sin. They are especially flattering, ignoring the righteousness of God and His redemption, and typically motivate people to sin more confidently and abandon morality altogether. False prophecies ignore or hide the consequences of their subjects' behavior and misrepresents the fruit of their prophecies to them. They never speak about duty or responsibility to God, or if they do, it is done to bring condemnation and terror upon them, where righteousness actually is. When false prophecy is given to one standing in God's true righteousness. In other words, if you are standing in the righteousness of God, sometimes a false prophecy can add fear and condemnation where there shouldn't be. And that is a maneuver of manipulation that tries to steer you away from the righteousness of God. It'll make you feel as though what you're doing righteously for the Father is actually the wrong thing. This takes great discernment. And this is not written in the book, but something that I always say, and if you know me and you've been on my lives or you've been into my workshops, I always say that we should submit prophecy back to God. And what I mean by that is whenever and whoever the prophet may be, whenever a prophetic word is given, I always say, okay, God, I submit this back to you for clarity, for wisdom, for understanding, before I receive the word from the prophet. And I know sometimes that we can get into the habit of being emotionally involved when we're hearing prophetic words. And sometimes the prophet may say, do you receive it? It is okay to say, not yet. Let me submit it back to God. because you want to make sure that you're not coming into alignment and into agreement with something that is false, something that is being spoken over your life that did not come from the word of the Lord. Back to the book. This is used as a weapon by Satan to destroy you because of your righteous act and its potential threat to his kingdom. In this instance, the enemy wants to send the false prophet to terrify and bully the saints into quitting the work of the Lord and the task that the Lord has assigned to you. His goal thereby is to assure the godly rewards and results of their obedience are forever annulled. These prophecies promote fear and threaten judgment and predict failure. Sometimes they are so subtle that they claim to see obstacles that are not there, or misinterpret dreams or visions to the advantage of the enemy rather than to glorify God. Immature or godless prayer sessions are very likely to bring about such words. These immaturity and these disobediences of gathering are an open channel to the spirits of opposition who can interject images and visions in the minds of sensitive and powerful people, and we can misinterpret it the wrong way. I'm a witness to this, y'all. I've interpreted things the wrong way at times. But this takes maturity and greater discernment. And this is why discerning well and submitting prophetic words back to the Father is very important, so that you're not misinterpreting or you're not taking in false visions, false prophecies from the enemy. Anyone receiving a word under these circumstances should weigh them carefully, and those that bring genuine fear and terror to the heart should be overturned with the right revelation and its correct application in the situation. False prophecies are always tied to a spiritual disobedience and are worded to undermine courage and faith in what God has assigned you to do. You can refer to Nehemiah chapter 6, verse 14, where Nehemiah recognized those. He received from the prophets Noadiah and the other false prophets in league with her to destroy his strategy. He recalled them to God as part of his prayer of justification and vindication. Jeremiah 23 and 21 also has an example of this same tactic. We have to be mindful. We have to be careful. Do not accept any prophetic word, even if it sounds like a confirmation, even if it sounds like information or foretelling. Always submit that word back to God. God doesn't mind it. It is not as though you're saying, God, I don't believe you. But what you're doing is saying, God, I need your clarity. I need your wisdom. I need your insight and foresight. For the word tells us that we prophesy in part. So no prophet has the fullness of your story. So it is important to send it back to God, because he is the author and the finisher. So he knows the fullness of the story. So God doesn't mind when we submit the prophetic word back to him. Now let's take a look at the prophet's personality and temperament. As with their natural abilities, prophets are born with a distinct temperament that most of them struggle with the greater part of their lives. Until they are called by the Lord and connected with other prophetic types, prophets live with one shock after another to their personality. Many people find them to be a little harsh sometimes, a little brash, too outspoken, and sometimes painfully honest. For this reason, the basic character of the office begins to take hold when they are youngsters. Future prophets become distant, sullen, defensive, and somewhat antagonistic because they know nothing else to do with their unusual personality and temperaments, trying to understand who they are. And some of you may be in that now where your temperament is short and you're what you call brutally honest with people. Now, not everyone that is brutally honest with people is considered to be a prophet, but these are some characteristics of the temperament of a prophet. So you can understand a little bit more what you are going through mentally and emotionally. From childhood, they see life with inexplicable clarity and cannot help to call it as they see it, even sometimes unapologetically. To protect themselves from people's normal reaction to their bluntness, future prophets develop a tough, sarcastic exterior sometimes. As a result, people pull back from them, and only those like spirits or those that understand them develop and maintain lasting friendships. They say it's hard sometimes to be friends with prophets. Over time, these people tend to grow in their appreciation of the prophetic temperament, which is honesty and forthrightness. Once the prophet recognizes their life's calling and how their personality serves their destiny, they become at peace with themselves, and the abrasive edges they built up as defense systems begin to soften. The typical prophet may be characterized by some of the following: a strong authoritative presence, a predisposition to handling sensitive messages from authority figures, regularly motivated by visions, possessing a capability with an inherent lifestyle, delivering incisive judgments, openness to divine communication, being somewhat of a loner. Many of you probably can relate to that. I know I can. Being easily detached from people and situations. I can relate to that too. Being daring, bold, and outspoken. I wasn't always that way, but I am now. And being piercing and confrontational. This has been part 2 of our series, So I'm a Prophet. I thank you all for listening in, and be sure to come back next time for chapter 1, Go Back to Bed. Until next time, as I always say, continue to walk by faith. I love y'all. Bye.